Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Not easy to go into Calgary and win for anybody, but Vancouver did it in Nikita Zadorov's debut. What was your take on the game?
Yeah, well, that was the big storyline. Obviously, you make a trade with the team, and then he sits there and waits for his new team to arrive and then faces his old team on Saturday night. So the storylines presented themselves there, and I thought Zadorov was fine. He played 17 and a half minutes. He was out there late. Gets an assist on the empty netter, so he preserves the victory. But as you said, it was really the start there. 2 minutes in, Quinn Hughes scores, and they add to that, and that gave them a bit of a cushion. And, Rod, that was a big bounce-back game for the Canucks because you probably saw that they lost to Vegas on Thursday, and the Canucks have had an incredible start here, and there's a real buzz back in Vancouver, and it's been fun. They're 25 games into this thing, but the game against Vegas on home ice on Thursday, it kind of felt like the Golden Knights came to town and said, "Oh, really? You guys think you're in our class?" And then just kind of, swatted them away, outshot them by a 2-1 margin, beat them 4-1. And I think that there were some learnings there for the Canucks, and so they had to turn around quickly, go to Calgary, a divisional rival, divisional game. And the Flames were playing better of late. And so the Canucks with the regulation win, and it got a little dicey there at the end, but they held them off. They win it 4-3. They extend their lead to 10 points over Calgary, and that matters because obviously the Canucks believe that they've done enough in the early going here to be a playoff team. That said, there's still a lot of hockey to be played, so to extend their lead to 10 points over a team like Calgary that's in that chase pack, that was an important victory for them on Saturday night.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I've been down here 2 years. It's taken me that long to just get my head around this. Yeah, you won, but you didn't win by enough. You don't like. What are you talking? I thought the idea was to win. You just explained why that's not enough.
No, it isn't. And if you look at it, in my opinion, if you look at it, it hurts in a lot of ways, right? Your competitive side hurts because you want to compete to be a champion, right? That's what you play the game for.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Yes, that's a fact. It is the RP Show. We're coming at you live, not on Game Plus again for another day. But we are on the radio. God bless you, beautiful people down there in Atlanta. Shout out Ryan O Radio and WQEE. You can always listen live on the streams. That's what everybody does these days. WQEE, look it up. Although my Twitter is wonky right now. I tried to tweet the link, and for whatever reason, it didn't go through. And for those that are joining us on YouTube Live or maybe later in the day or a month on podcast, come on inside. Welcome, friends. It's a hot day here in South Florida. Moose is with us from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I'm going to give a roadmap, Darren. You don't even know this. You probably would be good if you knew what we were going to talk about on the show today. Here's the roadmap. Some NHL leftovers from last night. I want to get into the topic that came up at the end of yesterday's show and didn't have time to address it. This Connor Bedard, Mark Chipman, Winnipeg media thing, and even Chicago media thing. I'm not done with it. What else? Monday Night Football last night. I got to be honest, I was up in a 6 a.m. gym class today at Johnny O's. It's a great day, right, Rod? And Johnny's like, how about that Monday Night Football game? It went to overtime last night. And I'm like, oh, my God, I was watching hockey. I didn't even know who won. So we jumped out of bed and came straight here to your gym, Johnny O. So we got to talk about the Bengals and the huge upset on Monday Night Football. An avalanche of CFL news. So I'm going to tell the audience right now, the next segment after this here in the warm-up, we'll be dedicating a lot of time to that. And then the NBA in-season tournament, and then we'll turn our attention with Point 6 to tonight's NHL game. So we've got a lot to get to. Our guests today are Neil McEvoy, the general manager of the BC Lions, and Brian Propa, the pride of Newdorf, Saskatchewan, or is it Lanigan? It's one of the two. He'll be with us later on. I should have worn orange today in honor of our guests, BC Lions and Philadelphia Flyers. And that's it. Director Jordan, can you hit the quick six show one, please? And we'll go.
Yes.
So Darren, we will open with the leftovers. These aren't all the NHL games, but these are the leftovers in the fridge that you go for first. You know, the most tasty ones the next day. Sean Couturier scored .355 into overtime to lead the Philadelphia Flyers to a 2-1 NHL win over the Pittsburgh Penguins on Monday night. In Winnipeg, Nikolai Ehlers and Kyle Connor each had a goal and added an assist to lead Winnipeg to its second straight win after a 3-game skid. They beat Carolina. What was it? It was 2-1, I believe. In Tampa, Andre Vasilevsky stopped 25 shots for his first shutout of the season. NHL points leader Nikita Kucherov had a goal and a helper, and Tampa Bay snapped a 4-game slide with a 4-0 win over Dallas. And in Montreal, Centre Bell, Sean Monahan scored twice, and Josh Anderson broke a 27-game goal drought with an empty netter as Montreal knocked off Seattle 4-2. Those were the tasty games from the NHL for me on Monday night, and frankly, I'm dying to get into this Chipman-Bedard thing, but just from the games, yeah, bravo, hats off to the Jets and the jerseys they were wearing. I'm not sure if the Jets jerseys were an ode or a tribute to the Canadian Armed Forces, but it was their military appreciation night last night at Canada Life Center, so everything went well, and it seemed to me like that was the game that you were watching the most, Jets beating Carolina. Am I right?
You're right. I watched it pretty much front to back. And what a good game for pump the brakes. Let's say what a good game for the Jets. I mean, they won. They did what they needed to do. It took them 16 and a half minutes to get their first shot on goal last night, but their second shot on goal scored. And that's been Carolina's Achilles heel a little bit, as they play really well. And I don't think Rod Brindamore sits there and says, we don't really got to change what we're doing. We just got to score, and they're having chances, but Laurent Brossoit was having none of it. He played really well.
LB.
And that's what good defense.
LB.
Yeah, it's what good defense and goaltending can do, right? You hold the fort, and Kyle Connor scores eventually. And then they played really well defensively enough to win the game the rest of the night. So bravo to the Jets.
Well, yeah, for now, we'll see how long that appeases their fans. But I'm frank, a lot of the games last night didn't really interest me. We do host the Cats and Bolts podcast where we talk about the Panthers and the Lightning. And I did watch, you say front to back. I watched, not front to back, I watched the first 2 periods of Tampa Bay, Dallas, Lightning winning 4-0, and then I flipped over to the Jets game. But I don't know if I'm a lone voice in the wilderness on this, but goalies, there's just too much emphasis put on goalies. Like Andre Vasilevsky was back in goal after getting shelled on Saturday in Dallas. 8-1 they lost. Last night he puts up a shutty. And what was the difference? They actually helped him. But right now, this is not the Lightning. This is not the Lightning team that we're used to. Even though they won last night 4-0, just lazy offside plays, lazy plays coming back into their own zone. This is not the Tampa Bay Lightning team that we're used to. And I think there might be a little bit of the we'll crank it up when we need to mentality with the Tampa Bay Lightning, because they're an older team and they know that they can, and they always have. But I'm excited tonight for the Minnesota at Calgary game. And for our Calgary viewers, this is huge. I daily need to remind myself to just let it go, because there's things I've said in the media that people don't really hold against me, or some do, but they're losers, so it doesn't matter. I just see what they're saying in Calgary with the media about how great a coach Ryan Husky is. And they love the rookie's take, Darren, of how he takes the first 2 periods and whoever's playing the best plays all the third. And if you're not playing great the first 2 periods, you'll sit. Ask Jonathan Huberdeau. And then after the game, they just forget it. They get up the next day like it never happened. Remember us talking about that? Remember me saying, is it possible that the next day you just forget it happened? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
That's what he's doing. So they're praising Huska in Calgary, who I think they went something like, was it 12-4-2 or something astounding in the month of November? And I'll just sit here and go, who was the guy when the rest of the media in Calgary was saying, sell the team, start the rebuild, this is a joke. You knew they were intimating that the coach sucked, and now all of a sudden he's the greatest thing. So we'll see what happens tonight with Minnesota going in there, and they're on a bit of a run under John Haynes. Where do we get our Haynes on you tonight, the Minnesota Wild? Get it? Do you get it? Do you get it?
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the underwear
Is that
commercial.
Michael Jordan commercials?
Yeah. So to what I'm dying to talk about in point 2. From hockeyfeed.com. Darren Pang, Blackhawks broadcaster, said on the Blackhawks broadcast that Jets owner Mark Chipman boarded the Hawks bus Saturday to apologize to Connor Bedard for Winnipeg media's continuous questions about made-up rumors in the Corey Perry situation. We all know what he was talking about. And so I went back and I did as much studying on this as I can, mentioned it here on the show, and then I tweeted that Mark Chipman's a good guy. I've had dealings with Mark Chipman. His daughter went to Notre Dame. He's best friends with my former boss, so I was around him there. And we had dealings together with the Humboldt Broncos. He oversaw the GoFundMe page collection, donations from everybody, and the way it was disseminated, and he did a great job of that. Mark Chipman's a good man. So after very quickly word got to him that Connor Bedard was being forced to answer all these uncomfortable questions about a ridiculous rumor in Winnipeg. So as the Blackhawks were boarding the bus to leave town, Chipman outside the rink stepped on the bus and apologized to Bedard. And I don't know. I'd love to hear from the Winnipeg people how you feel about this, because it was a Chicago reporter. I think his name is Mark Lazarus from the Athletic Chicago. Clark, do I have that right? Or the Tribune? Is it Mark Lazarus, or do you know? Yeah. He tweeted that this is not a Mark Chipman's business. He does not speak for the Winnipeg independent media, and an apology was not warranted, if I may paraphrase. And it's in my commentary today, Darren, where there's a major divide between the media and the teams, and it's wider than ever. I think COVID really reinforced that, and they're not coming back. And I think that it was wrong. And the interesting thing was, sorry, Clark, to call you out or specifically ask you, or even you, Darren, do you know who the reporter was? Because I was led to believe it might have been a guy that's been on this show with us, on our show, that was really leading the uncomfortable line of questioning. And because I still don't know. It was inferred to me you don't? Do you, Clark? Do you know who the guy was leading the parade on the Bedard questioning on Saturday? Okay, you don't? Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, none of us know. None of us know. It was basically just Winnipeg media. Yeah. So if somebody watching there in the Slurpee capital wants to let us know who it was, fine. They referred to that this guy had a podcast, and we know a few people in Winnipeg that have podcasts. So he wasn't apologizing on behalf of the media. He was apologizing on behalf of their town and on behalf of just the whole Jets thing, because they run that town, that you had to go through this. So I apologize on your behalf. Do you have a take on this? Or am I barking up the wrong tree entirely?
No. The reason why none of us know who the reporter was is that's not what we do, right? I mean, speak for us, but speak for myself, and I think for the rest of us. When we see this, our first reaction isn't to run and try and figure out who the reporter is so we can out them and shit on them, right? That's not what we do. So that's why we don't know who the reporter was. And it doesn't really matter who it was, to be honest, for the sake of this conversation. 2, Mark Chipman going on the bus. You know what? I admire it. You know, he wants, Bedard to say, look, I don't want you to think this poorly of coming to Winnipeg. I want you to be happy when you come here. You shouldn't have had to deal with this. So on behalf of the town and our organization, we apologize you had to deal with that. But the divide between the media and the teams, you're right, is big. Look, all the teams have in-house media now. Jets TV, Leafs TV, Flames TV. They all have in-house media. And they know they're not going to get hard questions from in-house media. They're not there to break salacious news stories. So they enjoy dealing with them. But because nobody's breaking the news reporters still got asked the difficult questions. So then the divide is even worse, right? And you get annoyed when you have to deal with outside media because you're going to deal with your in-house media. And they'd rather keep everything on their own platforms. Yeah. And I think that's where the divide's coming from.
Sorry to cut you off. I don't think Joe Blow cares about that. I don't. Reg Dunlop writes in, and he says that interview was overblown. It was Connor's facial expression that caused the issue. He answered, and then it went on. Reg says Paul Friesen and Sean Reynolds asked the questions, and that's the thing. I'm like, well, if it was Sean, he's been on the show a lot, a regular. He's what I would say a pretty good friend of ours, for certainly a wonderful working acquaintance. But when, why ask it at all? let alone the fact that it went on and on and on. So John Ohm, and I'll ring the bell later, says the media needs to be more sensitive. I know they are doing their job, but ... Because I didn't watch the clip in question. I was shocked it was answered, that it was asked at all, and that if it was picked at, that's just wrong. And I guess more than anything, I'm always the one in the wrong. Always. I'm used to it. Maybe I'm the asshole here. I don't know. I'm used to that too. You know, I do remember in Calgary, Arnie Jackson, the great Arnie Jackson, the truck wagon announcer, said to me about a year ago, he goes, Rod, there hasn't been a guy come through this town that bridged the sports people and the media like you in 25 years. And I said, well, that's not really my goal. It's just I hang out with the sports people and I hang out with the media people. Why not bring them together? Let's all hang out. That's how I would think you would bridge something like this. But maybe they don't want to. Phil writes in, says, I'm with Chipman. You get the chance to ask questions to potentially the next big thing, and you want to talk about a rumor? This is hockey, not TMZ. And John goes on to say, put your feet in Connor Bedard's shoes. Red says, by the way, the interview's on TSN. Look, I'll take people's word for it. I don't need to go to TSN. The fact that it was asked at all by anybody, it was inappropriate. I apologize if that's offending anybody, but how would you like if somebody was asking you about a stupid rumor about your mom that was false? How would that feel? That's what John's saying, and that's all I'm saying. Have a little flipping empathy, which I understand. I'm pounding oats up a dead horse's ass, so I'm going to move on. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'm with Mark Chipman on this. And by the way, if I may go one step further, I tweeted yesterday that I'm with Mark Chipman, and he is a good human, which apparently is a disappearing trait. And some guy came at me for the fact that Chipman didn't fire Kevin Cheveldayoff after he was implicated in the Blackhawks scandal with Aldridge, the assistant coach. And I was like, look, I know how owners look at things. Why would he hurt his hockey team, the Winnipeg Jets, for something Chevy was investigated for by the NHL for 10 years prior in Chicago and was found to have had no wrongdoing? Why would he hurt his own team if he really thinks he's doing a great job with the Jets, which he does? So again, this is where narrative can get you fired, but it's up to people with a strong backbone to stand up to that, and clearly he's won, Mark Chipman. Anyways, we have less than a minute here. I'll point this out. Point 3, Jake Browning threw for 354 yards and a touchdown in his second NFL start, and the Cincinnati Bengals stunned the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-31 in overtime Monday. Browning also ran for a touchdown as the Bengals won on a Monday night for the first time since 1990 on Evan McPherson's 48-yard field goal in the extra frame, and the Jaguars lost quarterback Trevor Lawrence to a right ankle injury late in the fourth quarter. That's 3 points through the Quick Six show topics. We're going to break, come back with 3 more, including more of the NFL story, a lot of CFL, some NBA, which includes our poll question today for Key Auto Group. Our guests are Neil McEvoy and Brian Propp. We'll be right back on the No Game Plus today. Ding.
Ding.
WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
And he says, "Hi, Rod. RP show preempted for cash cab reruns from 2008 and pickleball." You want to hit the bell, Clark? He said it. Cash cab reruns today. Whatever. It's their network. It's their network, okay? So don't tell me. Tell them. You don't think we want to be on? And our hockey coverage is brought to you in part by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Okay. Hot, hot, hot. Moose is here. It's a great day. Well, he's not with me. He's in Tirana. He joins us here now. And I'm going to move on. I'm sure everybody's like, thanks, Rod, to the Canadian Football League news. Unless you have a take on the NFL Monday Nighter, I should not. That's pretty exciting stuff. Overtime. Johnny O watched it. Evan McPherson field goal. He's great at those last-minute winning field goals. Do you have a Monday Night Football take? 34-31 Bengals over the Jaguars?
Yeah, big win for the Bengals. And now all of a sudden you show your organization, you've got a quarterback that can play. I think they had written themselves off as being a team that was just going to, go quietly into the night. The season was over. Now you throw, you can play. But you got to stop giving the football to your wide receivers and telling them to throw when your quarterback's playing well. Chase had a completion, but it was for negative yards. And then Boyd, that bad interception. So they were lucky to get away and get into overtime, but good win for the Bengals.
Bill Edwards, watching in the Queen City, says Cash Cab is on here as well in Regina. There's another TV programming note. You want to hit the bell, Clark? And again, I just sit here and talk. It really makes no difference to me whether we're on Game Plus or not. It actually doesn't. Not to me. It doesn't change my life one bit. No. But if people have a problem with it, I suggest they go straight to Game Plus. Don't tell me. I know. We know. Ali, in segment 1, we covered all the NHL stuff earlier, including the Dallas Stars getting blanked in Tampa last night. If you want to rewind, if not, if you want to sit here and hear our Canadian Football League coverage, that's cool too. I've had so many people say to me, both in Canada and the U.S., you're not going to grow the show in the States if you keep talking CFL. And I said, we're not trying to grow the show in the United States. We're not trying. It's growing anyways without us even trying. Right? I got to talk about the Canadian Football League stuff because that's why a lot of people came here today. And I'm stepping out of the comments, by the way. So you're not going to get my attention here if you write in now. 3 news items from the Canadian Football League. And they're all pretty big, specifically to those that they're involved, those involved in those stories. Mark Mueller has left the Calgary Stampeders. I've known him since he was 9. Mark Mueller has left the Calgary Stampeders, where he was an offensive assistant, and has been or will be named the offensive coordinator of the Saskatchewan Roughriders under the new head coach, Corey Mace, and his staff. I can really confirm it because I talked to Mark. It's happening. He is a member of Canada's royal football family. He's the grandson of Ron Lancaster, the greatest Rough Rider of them all, who's not with us anymore. But Mark said his whole family's very excited. He's heading home, where he was a star player with the Sheldon Williams Spartans and the University of Regina Rams. And has been coaching pretty much since. It just was, the day was always going to arrive that Mark Mueller was under the employ of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and it's here now. And the side story of that I would be interested in your take on, Darren, is when one door closes, one opens. It was reported, and nobody wanted to say it, but that Mark Mueller had his play-calling duties taken away by the Calgary Stampeders last season when they were struggling. When it happened, I'm not really sure. But they took away those duties, and obviously, I guess the head coach, Dave Dickinson, took over. Now, I was on the radio in Calgary last Thursday, or whatever day it was, and they're the voice of the Calgary Stampeders, talking about all of this with Jock Wilson, the pre- and post-game host. And I said, I don't know, Jock. This is just what I heard. But did Mark have these duties taken away by the Stamps this year? And Jock's like, well, it was intimated to them. Well, I think you can say yes. I don't know why it's such a big secret and why nobody wants to talk about it. I don't know. We all love Mark, and if it's true, why can't we just say it? I don't know. And does he leave Calgary with his nose out of joint? I don't know. But how do you come back from that? I guess you don't. You go to Regina for a promotion. You go home. You see why he's so excited. So isn't that interesting how that all played out, Moose?
Oh, yeah, it is. And there's so much that goes into this. Like, I'm a big Mark Mueller fan, too. I don't know if he's going to be a great offensive coordinator because we've never seen him in that role specifically, although Colin plays in Calgary. He handled a lot of those duties. But, sometimes a fresh start's what you need. I mean, I think it would be a tremendous amount of pressure to be sitting there with Dave Dickinson and John Huffnagel looking over your shoulder when you're making play calls, let alone when things aren't going well. And then if things start going well, then you're like, okay, this is what I want to call, but what do they think? And I'm trying to call plays based on what they think would be happy, and I'm not maybe working free and confident and doing what I think is best. So sometimes it's better when it starts going south to get out of that situation, get into a new situation where you're comfortable, confident, free, and start fresh where everybody's positive. The one thing that is interesting for a first-time head coach to have a first-time offensive coordinator, that will be an interesting thing to follow. But I think, You got two bright, well-respected guys in Corey Mace and Mark Mueller. But, man, they're going after this with not a lot of experience, right? So we'll see how they round out the rest of the staff.
Hey, where's Jeff the Stamps fan? The day that we sit here and talk about the Stamps, he's not here. You know? For those that need to hear it, pay attention. Sometimes to further or even just continue your career, you need to move locations. And that's what's happening with Mark Mueller. Now, I'm watching what's going on with the Rider Nation. It's my home province. Was with the team for 20 years, and this isn't getting universal thumbs up, this hiring, for all the reasons you just said. Largely, I think the inexperience of the head coach and now Mark, who's never been an offensive coordinator before. But, again, I realized this a while back. I think when Bill Belichick was going through all the Johnny O's face just popped into my mind. When Belichick was coming out of training camp, and he cut all his quarterbacks except for Mac Jones. He only had one on the roster, and everybody thought he was nuts. Remember I was talking about that at the time? And it's like the guy's won 299 games, 6 Super Bowls, and he's still getting questioned. Bill Belichick. He's at the end of the line. Mark is way back at almost the start, although he's been in the league for 9-10 seasons. But you are always, always, always going to have to answer questions about yourself, especially when you're in these roles. But I realized that about Belichick, and it actually made my life a hell of a lot easier to deal with, because you're always going to have to prove yourself every damn day. So Mark and Corey Mace are probably getting out of bed excited that people are criticizing them and saying that they don't have the experience. They just want to shove it up where the sun don't shine. That's how I feel. And just to give it, I could sit here right now, Darren. I go to my thing. As a sober person, where's my app? I'll tell you how many days that I've been sober. 3,234 days I've been sober. There are people still expecting me to fall. No, thank you. But every day, you got to get up and prove yourself in that world. And in life, you do. But I'm just saying with Mark Mueller, he'll be fine. You know, when he was 9 and was rolling around the stadium, and I'm seeing what people are saying about him being raised in Taylor Field, we used to talk about what's he going to do in this business. And we're like, whatever the hell he wants. People were like, he's going to be a general manager. He'll be a great head coach. He'll be a great... No, he's going to be a quarterback first. You know?
Anointed.
He's the next one. Jeff, the Stamps fan, has showed up on cue. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Gordon from Yorkton says, I really hope that Trevor Harris and Mark Mueller can work well together. And he's got more comments there. So that's my take on the Mark Mueller hiring. He's going to be fine. And anybody that criticizes him, you just don't know him. But guess what? We all get criticized all the time, even Bill Belichick. And the Johnny O thing, he's from Boston. I found out today, Johnny O, he interviewed Don Cherry for a school project in 1978. But he was at Framingham State, taking media and communications there. Johnny's got all the stories, Darren. And so we were talking about Belichick and how they got shut out 6-0 on Sunday by the Chargers. And I said, if it was anybody else, he'd be fired by now. And Johnny O, who's 63 and looks a lot like Vanilla Ice, but ripped. You're going to meet Johnny O because he's coming on the Cats and Bolts podcast. He told me his name was Bait. His nickname was Bait back in the day, Darren. I said, Johnny, tell me, why'd they call you Bait? He goes, well, Rod, the women really like me. So the guys would invite me to the parties because the women would come if I was there. And he was very humble about it. He wasn't bragging because the women loved me, Rod. So the guys called me Bait. I'd show up at the party and all the women would come. True story. And he says with Belichick, he goes, you don't fire a guy like that. You don't fire him. What you do is you go to the end of the year and you just say, now, look, Bill, it's been great. We won 6 Super Bowls, but it's over. So we're going to need you to step away. and he's been running a gym for 40 years. John Ohm says, get Johnny O on the show, Rod. I will. He's coming on Cats and Bolts, Johnny O. But he's just, he's got a photo, a painting of himself up on the wall in his gym, just shirtless. I thought it was Vanilla Ice. Because that kind of stuff doesn't really turn me on. I didn't look at it real close, but then I got looking at it, I'm like, that's Johnny O with a do-rag on. Anyways, we got to talk about Tommy Condell named the offensive coordinator in Ottawa. Willie Jefferson signing a one-year deal with the Bombers. The NBA in-season tournament. Just before we get to Neil McEvoy, I should say. And is he logged in, by the way, Mark? Is he logged in, Neil McEvoy? Not yet. Okay, the poll question today, by the way, for Key Auto Group is, are you into the NBA in-season tournament? At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. And for me, it's a no, dog. You, Darren? Yes, there.
It's
yes
a no, dog. Yeah, no.
Okay. And that's fine. That's fine, because guess what? The NBA is not into us. So we're good. I'm following. No, I'm not following it. I'll read you the scores, but I'm sure as hell not watching it. I'll see you in hour 2.
Later.
Co-GM of the BC Lions, Neil McEvoy, joins us next. We are live on YouTube Live today. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE 99.1 FM.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It is the RP Show. It's where CFL fans come to talk. NHL fans, too. And wouldn't you know, college football, as we learned yesterday. We're going to talk ball now. Our good friend Neil McEvoy joins us, co-GM of the British Columbia Lions. Good to see you, Neil. Sorry I missed you. Grey Cup, however, Darren Moose DuPont tells me that you guys did make acquaintances there at Grey Cup. How'd that go?
We did. We missed you, though. I totally agree. It was a nice event. I was at the media event Wednesday night, and we had nothing but good things to say about your show and your exclusive European trip down to the south. So it's great.
You're right. Well, I very much appreciate those kind words. Sorry I missed you, but I can guarantee you I'll be in Vancouver in 2024 to watch the BC Lions against somebody in the Grey Cup, somebody from the East. But, Neil, the first thing that popped into my head was this. You know how these rivalries are born as playoff meetings, and you guys must really detest the Winnipeg Blue Bombers by now, I would think, given the past few years.
I don't know if the word's detest. I appreciate what they do. I really like the way their football team continually wins. And you know, one thing I'll say, and I don't tell them this, but they're actually good guys too. Like, it's easy to hate players that are mean and maybe a little bit too cocky. But the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are a good football team, and we're trying to be like them, and we're trying to build something like they have. But getting over the hump to beat them in Winnipeg is one thing. I'd like to play them in Vancouver for a Western Final with 55,000 screaming football fans in their ear and see what it's like.
Well, maybe that's coming. Maybe that'll happen this year. But the Canadian Mafia you're referring to, by the way, Dave Dickinson really gets a pass on people letting him slide and calling the Bombers that back in the day. But you guys were that for us. I mean, come on. 04, 05, 06, we couldn't get past you guys. Those were fun days too, Neil, Riders and Lions.
Yeah,
I can tell you we detested you. Don't tell me you didn't detest us. I'd be very disappointed. Carl Kidd, Roy Shivers, those were great days, man.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Good days. Paul McCallum sticking it right through the upper. Missing left. Whatever happened that day, I forgot. A lot of good memories. A lot of good memories of those big games against Saskatchewan. There's no doubt.
There are those that say the days are gone, that you'll never fill that place again. And I don't believe that, Neil. I don't believe that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, to fill it, yeah. It's tough. There's 55,000 football fans have to get in there. You need time to sell it. You need to, become, like in those days we were winning and we had the Western Final wrapped up, 3-4 weeks before the event. So it gave you that amount of time to sell it. Like if you just get the Western Final or the Western Semifinal a week before it happens, it's just logistically really tough to sell because you're starting from zero. It's not like the season ticket campaign, which starts, now, and then you have until, June to sell it. Well, this event, you don't know sometimes if you're going to get in it. And then, 7 days later, you're playing a game. It's tough. But I could see us selling if we get a Western Final. The fans in Vancouver have spoken. They're excited about this football team. We're excited about them. That's the way the Canadian Football League always has been. It's a roller coaster. We were down at the bottom, but we've crept our way up the hill, and we're excited about this football team going forward and our fans being behind us.
Well, and no, I can't give you guys enough credit for what you've done. You came in there at the bottom, this regime. We've all been watching it from the outside and cheering you on, quite frankly, because you guys are good guys too. But just one last thing, like was it, tell me the year. I think it was 04. It was the last year of the regular season. 55,000 were in there. Regular season game, Neil. And Spurgeon win. Did he not hit Giroy on a 55-yard streak to win the game, to clinch first?
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, we had 55,000 again. That actually happened, right?
I know. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. You know what? The world has changed a little bit, though. I mean, even when the National Football League is going to smaller boutique stadiums, guess what? The Canadian Football League better start thinking about that too. So, the days of the 60,000, 70,000 people coming out to a football game or any event might be over. But we're certainly going to keep on building. We're certainly going to keep on expecting and hoping our fans come out, which I know they will. And we're just going to keep on doing the best we can to put the best product on the field.
All you can do is keep winning, right, and putting in the work, which you guys have done on the field and off. And I guess my next question is, I'm dying to ask you about Touchdown Pacific. What about it was not covered this week with the announcement? That's another thing I want to be at, is Labor Day. You don't want to be in Florida in the summer anyways, so I'd love to be in Victoria for that. Tell me about that and how excited you are.
Yeah, do you know what? It's something different. It's something that, bringing, just like Saskatchewan, we are the football team of the province, not the city. And so having the game in other cities throughout the province is something that, Amar and Dwayne and the Canadian Football League wanted to do. So we've seen the success of the Touchdown Series in other provinces. And so now it's our turn to put on a show in Victoria to show the rest of the country and the world, quite frankly, that football in Victoria is going to be exciting, and we're going to put on a good show and produce some winning football over there too.
Well, I think it's amazing, but I have questions. I've only been to Victoria for hockey, so please tell me, what are their football facilities to host an event of this size?
Well, I mean, there's questions that we're going through right now. I know the city of Victoria is excited about having us, and the stadium that we're playing at has put on some FIFA events, has put on, professional sporting events in the past. So I expect, once we get there in, when we play in August, that things will be top notch and up to speed. It's a grass field, so that's going to be one thing. Not half grass, half turf. It is full grass. So, going back old school, playing on the grass, which our players will like. And so, yeah, I expect it to be a good event, and we're going to play Ottawa and give them the most we can to put another W in the win column.
Have you divulged in attendance yet, or is that a big secret, or capacity?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet what that will be. I know that it'll be lots of people. People are excited about it, not just you, but even in Victoria and in the Lower Mainland. So I think right now it holds between 10 and 12,000, and I think hopefully we can put some more numbers in there. But yeah, I mean, it's like any event. You gotta put work into it. You gotta work at getting the people out there. You gotta work at making them excited about it. And the announcement last week was just the start of the getting this event off the ground. And it's not only that, we got Grey Cup coming up, so lots of exciting things happening in football in the province of British Columbia. One of them also
is that where the soccer team plays?
No, they play at a different spot. There's a stadium close by. This is the stadium in downtown Victoria. The old soccer team, the Victoria, I forget what they're called, that played in the Canadian Soccer League against the 86ers. That's where they used to play. So this stadium has held professional football events.
And I cut you off. I apologize. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, lots of great things happening in the province of British Columbia football-wise. One of them being that one of our minor football players is the new head coach of a team in the great province of Saskatchewan. So I'm just excited about football in the province and the fact that we can lend you guys some players and some coaches to make things right.
The day is here. Port Moody's, Corey Mace, yes, of course. And hey, I got to say this, Neil, lastly, I love every CFL stadium. Old, new, I don't care. They're all fun. But that temporary empire back in the day, Neil, That was the bomb, man. You know that. People are going, why can't we just throw that up in Halifax? Throw that up in Victoria? That was so, it's Grouse Mountain right in the background. You had the view of that and some great ball games there. Is it clearly not easy to just whip that together or people would
No, that takes lots of time and lots of energy to get that up. And I appreciate you saying it was a great stadium overlooking the Lions. The team is actually named after the mountains that stadium looked at. So people think we're mountain lions. We're actually mountains that are shaped like lions. So that part of the stadium was all great. But yeah, I don't believe that the stadium of Victoria is going to look like that. There is infrastructure there that we will build around, but I agree that stadium in Empire Stadium was a good. Empire 2, I guess they called it, was better than Empire 1. I've heard. I've only been to Empire 1 when I was a kid, but all great memories. Yeah. Playing Saskatchewan, playing all those good teams, just a great league to be around, and always our fans are happy to play whoever we play.
Yeah, those were great memories. Tempire, I like that nickname of Tempire. Hey, Neil, if the football thing doesn't work out, clearly you can be a City of Vancouver tour guide on the double-decker bus with a mic, because clearly you know everything there is to know about Vancouver. All right, man. Happy holidays. I appreciate the time as always. Let's do it again in the new year soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Good luck. Have fun. Great show.
All right. Thank you, pal. The co-GM of the BC Lions, Neil McEvoy. We'll be back with a sports update and audience takeover right after this. We are live on Game Plus TV. No, not today. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Live, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE 99.1 FM.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, this one's a quickie, everybody. I'll do the sports update and then get in as many comments from you as I can. Sports update, Canadian soccer legend Christine Sinclair bids farewell to her international career tonight in an emotional farewell against Australia in Vancouver. Some 45,000 fans are expected at BC Place Stadium, which is being renamed Christine Sinclair Place just for tonight. The 40-year-old Sinclair has scored a world record 190 goals during her 23 years with the Canadian national women's soccer team. I like this one. The Canadian Junior Hockey League announced Monday that the Flin Flon Bombers have maintained their hold at #1 overall in their latest top 20 rankings, fueled by Gatorade. Continuing to top the table in the 12-team Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, Flin Flon is on a 10-0-1 heater and has an SJHL best record of 23-1-2. Slotted #2 in the nation are the reigning Centennial Cup champion Brooks Bandits of Alberta. Despite a narrow double overtime setback Sunday, the Ontario Junior Hockey League leading Collingwood Blues stay at #3 in the weekly listings, which are compiled by an independent scouting service. Coming in at #4 nationally are the front runners of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, the Steinbach Pistons, coached by my good friend Paul Dick. And capping off the top 5 in the 122-team CJHL are the Trenton Golden Hawks of the Ontario Junior Hockey League. You can go to more at cjhlhockey.com, but I love my Junior A, as you know. I got some exciting news that involves the Pedersen family and NCAA. We'll get to it next hour. Sports updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in Landmark Cinemas now, Silent Night. From legendary director John Woo and the producer of John Wick comes this gritty revenge tale of a tormented father who witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. Silent Night redefines the action genre with visceral, thrill-a-minute storytelling in Landmark Cinemas now. Moose will be with us next hour. And we'll be looking at tonight's NHL games and a whole lot more after this brief pause. Stick around, everybody.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Happy holidays, hockey fans. Darren DuPont here with the SJHL report. Man, the Flin Flon Bombers continue to roll 10-0-1. They're the number 1 team in all of the CJHL. Let's look at what happened on the weekend. The Kindersley Clippers have won 3 in a row. Don't look now. And they're climbing up the standings. Yorkton has dropped 6 in a row. Notre Dame's lost 4 in a row. Those not great news stories, but here's the standings. As we mentioned, those Clipper wins now up into 5th overall. Flin Flon alone there in 1st. Kean Bell has jumped all the way to number 2 in the league scoring race with 42 points. In just 16 games since coming back, Justin Lees leads the league with 46 points. Big games to watch. Kindersley at Melfort on Friday. The surging Clippers looking to keep it rolling. And Melville at Humboldt Saturday. Melville looking to get back into the league's top 5. That's your SJHL report for this week. I'm Darren DuPont.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I've been down here 2 years. It's taken me that long to just get my head around this. Yeah, you won, but you didn't win by enough. You don't like. I said, what are you talking? I thought the idea was to win. You just explained why that's not enough.
No, it isn't. And, if you look at it, in my opinion, it hurts in a lot of ways, right? Your competitive side hurts because you want to compete to be a champion, right? That's what you play the game for.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the RP Show, Hour 2. Coming at you from sunny and hot and beautiful South Florida, where we talk sports every day. We do it every day, whether we're on television or not. And I can tell you that today, we're not on Game Plus TV, but you have found us, however you found us, on WQEE Radio, home of the Red Hot Falcons and the NFL, the division leaders of the NFC South, and, of course, streaming YouTube Live and all the rest. Moose is in Toronto. My mind's jumping around earlier than normal. Usually it takes about 5 to 10 more minutes, Darren. How's the coffee? As you take a big suck on that, how is it?
It's great. It's great. Yeah, it's awesome today, and, yeah, we're good.
Any special brand of coffee you got going on there?
No, actually, this is just whatever beans we bought at, I think, Costco. But we did do a Theo's special coffee trip over the weekend, the Nespresso store. Picked up the holiday flavors. We haven't cracked those yet, but we picked them up.
Yeah, we ordered them too. And I got to tell you this. It's over a month ago now where I've just released this thing that was hanging me up for the longest time, and that is, listening to the haters. I don't care for doing nothing wrong. And the reason I say that is, people say, you drop names, you're a big name dropper, Rod Peter. Well, what am I supposed to say when what Darren's saying is Theo's special coffee? That's our joke for Nespresso, both obviously the DuPont household and ours here in South Florida. Theo's special coffee, because for weeks when I first went to Calgary a couple years ago, Theron Fleury was bragging, the great Theron Fleury, I got to get you to my house. I'll give you some of my special coffee. I'll make some of your special coffee for you. And I'm like, what the hell could this be? What could it be? For weeks. He's like, oh, every time I saw him, you're going to have you come over for the special coffee of mine. I'll make you some special coffee. And I'm thinking, well, Theo's sober like me, so there can't be booze in it. What the hell would it be? And then I end up finally get to his house, and it's the funniest story ever because he lives in this mansion, Southeast Calgary, a new development, 10-foot doors, and he's 5'6". Think about that visual for a second. 10-foot doors, and he's 5'6". And he peeked out from behind the door as he opened it. 3-car garage, and I was just... I looked at her. I was stunned. And Theo goes, well, I didn't spend it all. He's made a lot of money in his career, Theron Fleury. So anyways, we get into the house and we're sitting at the kitchen table, and I'll never forget, he was opening mail from all around the world, signing cards, autograph stuff, sending them back. That was when I really realized that NHL players are global stars. And he hasn't played in 20 years. And then 2, I'm like, okay, can I get this coffee you've been bragging up? And he goes back to his pantry and he pops in an espresso pod into the machine, makes it, and then pours 2% coffee. Here you go. That's your special coffee? Nespresso? Anybody can do that. Well, it's special to us. And my special way is I put in 2% milk. I put 2% in. That's my way of making it special. So we've laughed about that ever since. Theo's special coffee. I think that Nespresso should get an endorsement deal with them, with the Fleury family, him and his beautiful wife, Elle. Anyways, 902-518-3033 is the Sober Carpenter text line. Text us here, 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter, proud partners of the RP Show, non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name in your favorite beer, wine, and spirit store. Yeah, I got the notification too, everybody. Just hang on. A lot of the CFL fans are here. You got it? You got it?
I was wondering when they would start barking, yeah.
Yeah, just came down that the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the Canadian Football League. Actually, here it is. Thank you, Clark, for putting it in the comments. Orlando Steinauer moving to president of football operations role of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ed Hervey has been named the general manager. New head coach to be named soon. So we'll stop the presses. Breaking news. That's what's great about live daytime television, if we are on television. And this is why the CFL comes here to talk. I don't think it's a big shock that while there's an opening to be head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, it's going to be Scott Milanovich, who was their associate head coach last year and offensive coordinator. This is not, it's news, but it's not huge news. I'd been told a few weeks ago that this was coming, and I don't know whether to believe the buzz or not, even though it came from one of my good, close friends that I trust a lot. So I'm going to actually move on to other things that I want to talk about, you're very close there geographically and regionally to Hamilton. So do you have any thoughts before I move on?
Just a few short ones. This was talked about, for the last couple of seasons, that ever since, what did they go, 15-3 and had a really good year, they've slowly been on a decline, and they wondered if, the multiple roles were maybe too much for Orlando Steinauer. I love him. I think he's a great coach. think he's a good person in the Canadian Football League and knows a lot and very valuable to the organization. So they didn't discard him. But I thought they would maybe bring in the GM and let him keep coaching. But he moves up to the president role, and they'll bring in a new coach. So fresh blood, fresh voice for the Tiger Cat.
John Ohm in Winnipeg writes in and says, nice shirt, Rod. For those listening on the radio, it's a Toronto Blue Jays quarter zip. And John says, Shohei Ohtani and his camp are believed to have met with the Blue Jays for a tour of the team's spring training complex in Dunedin, Florida. That was on Monday. And what's today? Tuesday. To be honest, I glossed over this real fast yesterday. I want to go back on it. The whole idea of enjoying the journey. I said, the older you get, you just want to get to the destination. Can we just get there? Are we there yet? That's a kid's thing. But what I've realized is, you know what? You're supposed to enjoy the journey in every regard, whether it's your life journey or this Shohei Ohtani thing. Because I sit here and go, why? If you legitimately don't know where you're getting signed, then fine. I was told that while the Blue Jays are in the top 10 teams to get Ohtani, that there's no way they're going to get him. But if you're Shohei Ohtani, why would you not take a free tour all over America and a free trip to Dunedin, Florida, and check out the Blue Jays? So that's the journey. Let's enjoy following what Ohtani does. Is that too much kumbaya? Or as Serena says, too much woo-woo stuff? Or do you agree?
I like it. Let's follow the journey. Let's be excited, because right now the Jays fans are as excited as they can be. And you've got some MLB insiders saying the Jays are in the top 2 or 3 teams. And it's down to they're one of the teams that are kind of leading this thing. But then you had Ross Atkins come out here and say, look, let's pump the brakes a little bit. There's reports out there that have me in 4 different places doing 4 different things. Okay? So we don't know if he's touring Dunedin or where he is, but it is fun to watch. Apparently they're in on 1, Soto 2. So the Jays all of a sudden are feeling this pressure to win now and loading up, and that's really exciting for Jays fans if this stuff works out.
I mapped this out last hour. We haven't even talked about the NBA in-season tournament, which I want to. It's in our Quick 6 show topics. It's also the basis of our poll question today, which I'm going to get to right away. For the benefit of the CFL audience, which is a large amount of our audience, we spent the entire second segment of hour 1, which is 15 minutes, on the CFL news of Mark Mueller leaving Calgary and going to Saskatchewan. I'm not going to sit and spend all of it on hour 2 because it is the off season. I know business-wise you want to keep the hype, but there are other people that want to talk about other things. So Orlando Steinauer moving upstairs in Hamilton. We all believe it's going to be Scott Milanovich. Probably a very big reason why he didn't go to Saskatchewan, or his heart wasn't in it. We covered all of that. That they've got 2 inexperienced guys in Saskatchewan, Corey Mason, Mark Mueller, and the fans don't really care about that. Most of them, they're just excited to have fresh blood. So we'll see how it turns out. Tommy Condell's the new offensive coordinator of the Ottawa Redblacks. He was fired in Hamilton. You see where people get tired. Johnny O's voice just popped in, her face just popped into my head again. You see how people get tired of the merry-go-round. It's the same recycled coaches all the time. But it's really, really interesting. I want to say, Johnny O, you're going to hear about him a lot. He's Serena's new part-time boss. She's coaching at his gym. They needed somebody to help out with her vacant classes to coach, so she's doing it. And every single day I sit and talk with Johnny. And he said he doesn't follow the NHL anymore, or a lot of these other leagues, because he said when it was original 6, you're getting an idea of his age, you knew every player on every team. And he goes, they also didn't wear helmets. So you legitimately could tell the difference between, as he says, Terry O'Reilly, Bobby Orr, Esposito, Wensing, Jonathan, all these names, Cashman, Middleton. But now there's too many teams. And that's one thing about the CFL that is a benefit. From a guy working in it for 20 years, there are only 9 teams, so it's really easy to keep track of all the staff and all the teams. But the NHL's progressed to 32, which is another thing. They're saying now 34 teams in the NHL, which I'll get to in a second. But he said, he goes, when you watch the NHL right now, can you tell the difference between the players? And I'm like, well, I can, because Tkachuk skates all bent over and he's chewing on his toy. And Barkov's 6'3", 230. I can see his body frame. But that's a guy that's trained in hockey my whole life. How do you feel about that? Have you lost any sizzle for sports because it ain't like it used to be? And he's got a legitimate case, I would say. There's too many teams, too many players, and they all look the same. Interesting. I thought he would say that.
Very interesting. Johnny O is pretty perceptive, and he'd be good on the show.
I know that.
We've talked about this in the CFL, not just that, but players bouncing around a little bit, right? And a little bit too much, and trying to keep track of where they are and who they're playing with, and line combos and all that kind of stuff. But the game is at a really good level in terms of the on-ice product. I still think that's at an all-time high. I think the games are really exciting and entertaining. And yeah, we got to do it. The teams and the league has to do a little more work to make sure that everybody gets their due, and that you're promoting all the players and building the brands of the faces and the key characters inside the league. But you just got to do the work, and it can be done. But I agree, it's not quite as easy to keep up with, but the game is still really good.
Let's remember this. John Ohm says it's between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays to get Shohei Ohtani. Remember it. Remember it. Because I'm not sold that that's the case. I've seen that it's reported that. Let's see if that's actually the case. That he signs with one of those two teams.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe very little of what I read. And by the way, I just want to throw this in there, because our number one region by far for viewership and listenership is still Saskatchewan and Regina. And Jeff, the Stamps fan, makes a really good comment here. He goes, imagine the pressure on Mark Mueller, the new offensive coordinator with his hometown Saskatchewan Roughriders. He said fans will demand and expect greatness based on his bloodlines. Here's something, Jeff. If you're great at what you do, you don't feel pressure. Write it down. You can put that on the 108th floor of my tombstone, Darren. If you're great at what you do, you don't feel pressure. I was calling the World Juniors on 23 radio stations across Canada, the Sportsnet radio network. Pretty sure you've heard this story, Darren, but I'll tell it again for those that don't. Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro were doing the TV, and I was doing the radio play-by-play, and Sammy Cosentino was my color guy. And between the bronze medal game in the afternoon and the gold medal at night, we had about a 90-minute window in between the two games in the Saddle Dome in Calgary, and I was sitting in the press box playing Pac-Man on my phone. And I played that thing for hours and hours and hours. I think I wore out the screen of my phone playing Pac-Man on it. And for Ray Ferraro reached over my shoulder. He started laughing. Razor. He's like, what are you doing? Playing Pac-Man. Why? Well, you're between the bronze and gold medal game of the World Juniors on the Sportsnet radio network. You're playing Pac-Man? Yeah, who cares? I've been calling all the games the last 2 weeks. I know the rosters. I know the stats. I just got to call the game. Why would I be worried? You know what I'm saying? And I had never done it before. When you're born to do something, you don't feel pressure. Mark Mueller was born to do this. You won't feel pressure. As much as people like you, Jeff, the Stamps fan, will be trying to put the pressure on him. But the thing like Saskatchewan is it makes people crazy. And that fan base did boo his grandfather off the field as a player. But I'm just saying, Mark will be great. And hopefully the fans don't get involved and screw it up. We haven't got, well, we can. I'll just read this about the NBA thing. 'Cause I'm serious about it. Tyrese Halliburton recorded the first triple-double of his career and completed a tie-breaking four-point play with 1:33 to go as the Indiana Pacers ousted the Boston Celtics from the NBA in-season tournament with a 122-112 quarterfinal win last night. Pacers will face Milwaukee or New York in Thursday's semifinals at Vegas. The Bucks and Knicks play tonight. And Brandon Ingram scored 30 points. And Herb Jones chipped in with 23 as the New Orleans Pelicans defeated the Sacramento Kings 127-117 in the other quarterfinal. NBA in season. Pelicans will face the Lakers or Suns in the next round, and those teams play tonight, Phoenix and LA. So the poll question today for Key Auto Group, and by the way, Key Auto Group, driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. Are you into the NBA in-season tournament? Clark, please look up what they're saying on YouTube. I'm going to look it up here on Twitter. 95%. Yeah, 95% on Twitter saying no. 88% on YouTube saying, no, we're not into it. And that's why we don't talk about the NBA or basketball on this show. But far more college football was discussed yesterday, and people were shockingly, hugely into that. Football, hockey, hockey, football, back and forth.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all these things when we come back. And we got Brian Proper, Philadelphia Flyers great, coming up later on this hour. We're live on the streams today and podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Live, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE 99.1 FM.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues from hot and sunny South Florida. Got some friends coming to town, I understand. Going to be meeting up with them over the next couple of days. Moose is with us. He's in Toronto. I know the Panthers are home to the Dallas Stars on Wednesday night because it's Aaron Ekblad bobblehead night, the third in a series of mini bobbleheads. And Darren, me and Bobby bobbleheads have a contentious relationship. I broke the Barkov one. I broke it earlier today. Do you know how fragile? Yeah, I bumped this table, smash, on the floor of the line A. Gorilla Glue works fantastic to put them back together. But my God, these things have more injuries than the actual NHL players do. So, yeah. When are the Leafs back at it? You're in Toronto. How close are you following their schedule? I would assume very closely. Thursday, what do they got? What's going on there?
I mentioned it the other day when we were talking about, the NHL, actually yesterday. And I said it's kind of a quiet week, and I misspoke. I meant for the Leafs because they don't play till Thursday. So that'll be interesting. They're on the road. I believe they're in Ottawa. And then I don't know when they're back home. I got to look further down the schedule. But yeah, the Battle of Ontario on Thursday.
Joe Lazito is watching on Long Island, and he says the NBA in-season tournament is ranked #1 for cures of insomnia. Here's another example of why analytics are a great thing. 95% of our audience doesn't care about the NBA in-season tournament. Therefore, we're not talking about it. But it's been on my radar for like 6 weeks. I turned on the Heat game, and don't ask me who they were playing because you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you who they were playing. And I just saw this logo on the floor with this trophy that kind of looked like the Larry O'Brien, but wasn't. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Oh, they were having it's a soccer thing, they tell me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care about that either. So here we are. And by the way, Moose, here's a little news from the Pedersen family. My niece, Sydney, have you met her?
Yeah. We went to a Rush game together.
Yeah. Yes, you sat beside her at a Rush game.
That's
right. She is in year 3 at Mercyhurst University in Erie, Pennsylvania. And she is going to be doing the color commentary. Sido would probably be very upset if I was telling the world that she's doing this broadcast on Friday night. She's going to do color commentary for the men's game. Because she's a very confident gal. So maybe she wouldn't care if I told the world that she's going to be making her broadcast debut in NCAA men's hockey Friday night. How about that?
That's cool. Congrats, Sid.
Her dad told me. Yeah, my brother. So I texted her, and I said, hey, you trying to be a broadcaster? This has just been going back and forth this morning. And she's like, well, I'm going to give it a go. Any tips? And I said, yeah, baffle him with BS. I've been doing it for 35 years. And she said that she's got the game notes memorized, and she's ready to go. And I'm going to be tuning in Friday night to watch Mercyhurst men's hockey. Sydney Pedersen making her broadcast debut. How about that? It doesn't surprise me at all that she can play. And that's why I don't have any issues at all with the women I see coaching, reffing, broadcasting, whatever. It's 1/2 of the general population. Look at Serena, for God's sake. She's as good as any hockey analyst there is, male or female. Why shouldn't they get the opportunities? And for that matter, any other minorities, if she even is a minority. I don't have a problem with it, as long as you're good. And I'll guarantee you that Sydney will be good. Now, to the National Hockey League. It is tonight got it sitting in the sun here. 3-6, 8 games. I did not post to our Instagram story. Everybody go follow us on Instagram at The Rod Pedersen Show, because we do fun polls like what's your game of the night. Mine very easily right now, I'll tell you, is Minnesota at Calgary. It's interesting with this Devils Vancouver. I'll read them all off. LA Kings at Columbus, New York Rangers at Ottawa, Detroit Red Wings at Buffalo, San Jose Sharks at the New York Islanders, Nashville Predators at Chicago Blackhawks, Anaheim at Colorado, Minnesota, Calgary, and New Jersey at Vancouver. And the NHL is really promoting the game in Vancouver. It's the first time that the Hughes family, got Luke and Jack Hughes playing on New Jersey, Quinn playing on Vancouver, all three of them playing against each other. It's only the second time in NHL history that an American family has 3 kids playing. The past, long before your time, Neil Broughton, Aaron Broughton, and Paul Broughton. They were the first American family. Tonight, the Hughes will become the second. I was telling Johnny O about that this morning. He goes, what about the Suttas? Like, well, they're Canadian, John. Oh, yeah. It's been like 6 or 7 Canadian families it's happened, but only 2 American families. Tonight's the second. What's your game of the night?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I haven't, taken a close enough look at the schedule to see, I still love the Kings. They're playing Columbus. I saw that one tonight. But probably the Canucks. I've been following the Canucks a little bit more than I've been following the Flames and the Oilers. I like their style of play. I think it's fun. It's fast. That was kind of what the New Jersey Devils were last year. And so you kind of got 2 similar styles together. So I think it's the New Jersey-Vancouver game for me.
Cool. Well, hey, you've said all along your number 1 team's Toronto, your number 2 team's Vancouver. And I've got the Flames and Jets handled. I watched them a lot, although you said you watched the Jets last night. Serena's got the Oilers covered. You and Clark got the Leafs covered. So we got it all covered. C. Lightning writes in and says, I hope Sydney puts a lot of expression in her voice like her uncle does. C. Lightning's talking about me. And that's, here's a little inside behind the curtain thing. Serena and I, as my Dale Mike said to me yesterday, he's like, you guys are great for each other. You guys are great for each other. You help each other. You coach each other. You feed off each other, Serena and I. And she told me, she's like, Rod, you got to let it go. The one issue that I have is with broadcasters getting jobs that shouldn't be broadcasters. I mean, what the hell did I go to school for then? Why did I spend 2 years at Mount Royal learning an addiction class? How to speak without saying and speak from your diaphragm, and how to enunciate words like Toronto, unless you're Don Cherry and say Toronto. But you get what I'm saying. No, let's just throw this jack wagon on the air. And she's like, you got to let it go. It's not that I'm not getting those opportunities, because life is fantastic. I'm just saying, what did I put in all the work for? And she's like, let it go. You get it right. You went to broadcast school, Karen. As did she. As did
WABC. It's WABC. Not W. Not W. Right. W. Yeah. Over.
WNBC.
Rise and fall. Right? Rise and... Anyways. Yeah. Over and over.
Wayne in BC says it must be nice to have sun, Rod. Here it's cloudy most of the winter. LOL. Well, what can I tell you? Again, my deal Mike will know that I've been surveying South Florida for years as the place that I wanted to be. Because we used to have this argument. I used to say it's the only place in America that you can guarantee it'll be minimum Celsius mid-20s year-round. Usually more, but minimum mid-20s. And he's like, nope, Hawaii is hotter. And I said continental USA. And Mike's like, no, you didn't. Pretty sure you didn't. We talked yesterday on the phone for an hour and a half. Joe Lazito writes in and says, great Imus imitation, Roddy. Thank you, Joe. WNBC. That's an inside joke for only those that would know. New York radio. For those that just tuned in. Hey, Joe Lazito, if you sit close to the bench at an Islanders game soon, can you tell Lane Lambert to trim his eyebrows? The head coach of the Islanders, his best friends used to nickname and call him Vein Lambert. Lane Lambert, they used to call him Vein Lambert because he's got the slicked hair. Just imagine him in the 80s. You put Don Johnson to shame. But I know it sounds bad to say it, but I'm just sitting there looking at Lane Lambert. Like his very best friend in the world's Curtis Hunt. So Huntsy calls him Vein. And I'm like, he doesn't have time to shave his eyebrows. He's the coach of an NHL team. Well, that's why they bring barbers into the dressing room, for God's sakes. And Joe says, will do. Thank you, Joe. Brian Propp will be joining us next. Is he lined up and ready to go, Clark? Okay. 1,016 games. Proppa. I've always been the biggest fan of him. And it is Newdorf Sask, Darren, just so you know. Him and my dad went into the Saskatchewan Rural Sports Hall of Fame the same year. I want to say 2002. Jim Pedersen, Brian Propp, and he played with the Melville Millionaires at the age of 15. And Propper, you're going to have to clear it up. He was either the Rookie of the Year or maybe even the league MVP. Brian Propp with the Melville Millionaires, the Money Men. And then went on to the WHL where he only had point totals of, get this, 135, 182, and 194. Okay.
Wow.
Back when men were men.
Yes.
And 1,016 NHL games played, 1,003 NHL points. Okay? And the Flyers are in a playoff spot today. Brian Propp joins us next. Moose, great job. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. You got to ask him if he's still selling the cigars and if we can get him up here in Canada.
Oh, yeah. Guffaw Cigars.
That's right.
Look it up.
I'd like to find him somewhere.
Canada's daytime sports talk show continues right after this. But not on the air on television in Canada today on Game Plus, preempted. But we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Live, and we are on the radio on your southern home of sports and talk live, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, not a game day in South Florida, but Wednesday will be. Panthers play game 2 of the 3-game homestand. The Dallas Stars are in here on Aaron Ekblad bobblehead night. Last night, Sean Couturier scored .355 into overtime to lead the Philadelphia Flyers to a 2-1 NHL win over the Pittsburgh Penguins in Philly. That left the Flyers at 13-10-2, third in the Metropolitan Division. And joining us to talk about the Flyers and everything orange and cigars is the great Brian Propp, Newdorf, Saskatchewan. Hey, Propper, welcome back to the RP Show. It's been far too long. How you doing? How you doing, man?
Really well.
Good. Good to hear. Listen, what is going on with the Philadelphia Flyers? I'm just going to guess here if it's the Tortorella effect. Is it the Keith Jones effect? What is going on with what looks like a pretty big turnaround for your team this year?
Yeah, so I think with Danny Briere being the GM, like he's been there for a couple of years and kind of knows what's going on, and Keith Jones knowing hockey, and Don Helford running the team, and they have a couple other guys like Patrick Shark and John LeClaire are going to be part of it too. But I think they're using the younger guys, and the Flyers are playing with energy. They have some fighters that they can use, and so that makes it more and more exciting. But they're playing with passion, and Hart is playing well, and the other goalies are playing well, and as long as they stay healthy, they could be tough to play against.
Proper, you sounds like you're describing the 80s Flyers. I know that's a grand overstatement, but yeah, you know what I mean. But they didn't get to this point easily. This is a committee thing to get to where, and I understand we're not even at the halfway point. But what's the reason for this, do you think?
Well, I think having Couturier back makes a big difference, and Atkinson back, and Konecny's been playing really well, and the younger guys are playing with energy, and so and the defense has been really good. Like they force all the time. They're really tough to play against because they force all the time, and they don't give them time to manage. And so, and their power play was pretty bad at the start, but it's getting better. They don't take too many penalties now, and I like it that they have the tough guys that they can fight a little bit, and they need to change the momentum. So it's all been pretty exciting. And I was just at the game last night with a couple of guys from Regina, Jason Brush, and a couple other guys from one guy that I played against for the Melville Millionaires last night. And so it was a good time and they went to Pittsburgh in the game before, and they took a train back, and then they So it was a good time that they had last night, and they're leaving today.
Was that a sports trip that they bought or something, or did they come to see you? Or, I'm very interested in that. That sounds like a great trip.
Yeah, first time back ever in Philadelphia, and so like they decided to take a trip because they're getting a little older, and so like they want to take advantage of that, and so they loved it, and then so they're going to probably do it every year.
Oh, I love hearing that. And hey, you heard me talking about your time in Melville. Were you MVP or Rookie of the Year at 15, or both?
I was both, Rookie of the Year and the MVP that year, and but I played with Jerry James was the coach, and we had good players, and I didn't really know what was going on. I just had fun and played hockey, and didn't think about it too much, and but it was a great time for me. And then I went to Brandon for 3 years, which we had powerful teams then too. So always good coaches and good players. Like I was just with Ray Allison yesterday. He lives in Myrtle Beach, and I'm in Marco Island, Florida. Like I think you're in the sunny place right now, and in Florida, aren't you in Florida?
Yep.
Yeah,
Boca Raton,
I'm in Marco Island, which is about an hour and a half drive from where I am, and so it's all good.
It's the greatest, and to have NHL hockey here to watch, it doesn't get better. I was going to ask you, Proper, if in your time in Melville, if that cross-sected with Ron Hextall, but you missed him a little bit. When you guys hooked up in Philly, did you talk about Melville days?
Yeah, because he was we played for Melville, and so like I knew the other guys there too. So like, of course, we talked about it. He was a rookie in '87, and he won the Conn Scythe. And but I've known him for a few years, and now actually his son is dating my daughter Paige.
Well, how about that? I bet that is a fantastic union. I love it. That's like Clark Gillies and Bob Bourne's kids dating. Same idea. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but speaking of great Saskatchewan people there, same thing. Well, Proper, we're not going to talk about this year's team. We're going to talk about the old days. People love talking about that more anyways. And I've gotten to be good friends down here. Jeff Chikrin lives here. And Dave Poulin's on this show regularly. Yeah, and we talk about the 87 Flyers. As painful as it might be, is that the greatest NHL team to not win a Stanley Cup in your mind?
Yeah, because we fought back, and we played in 26 games, and so and Edmonton just kind of bruised through everything. But Mark Howe was awesome, and then Tim Kerr was hurt, and Poulin was really hurt, and Ilka was really hurt, and so we were banged up a lot. But we found ways to win, and I think that they admire us for getting to a Game 7, and unfortunately we lost. We lost like 2 minutes left, 3-1. But other than that, it was a lot of people from Philadelphia just admire our work that we did and sticking together with a team.
Yeah, that's a very, very special town. I can't wait until the day that I get there to visit. You're on the list. Joe Watson's on the list. I did a banquet with him a year and a half ago at the Centennial Cup. Wow. It's like he's 18. Does he act like that around Philly, or just when he got up to Canada for a hockey banquet that he, that guy's got a lot of energy, man. For 78, Joe Watson.
Yeah, he's still the same. Like I was just at the game with him. He's talking all the time, talking about the game and energy. But like I know that there was like Don Selesky, Horace Kinderchuk, and Dave Schultz and I were in Delisle, Saskatchewan last August, and so for the sports day. So that was special because have all those Saskatchewan guys, and like the three of them played on the same line when they won the Stanley Cup, and so that was a fun night.
Oh, yeah, those things are great. Hey, Joe Lazito is watching in New York. He's from New York. He's an Islanders fan. But he says, Tortorella brings an old school energy that no other coach brings. It's so refreshing in this day and age. Even as an Islanders fan, I find myself rooting for the Flyers most nights. All those things you were talking about earlier, the discipline, the power play, the special teams boost, that's coaching, Brian, as you know. Like, maybe Torts has got to get some credit here.
Yeah, I think that whether the Flyers are changing, like because of the new management and the new management, like they want to make it like Ed Snyder was still alive. Like Comcast bought the team a couple of years ago, and so they struggled a little bit with that. But now they want to get it back to the point where like the fans want to come back into the games and to be part of it and be. They're tough to play against, and so that's I think what we're seeing this year, and hopefully they can keep it up because they don't get scored against too much, and so like they're tough to play against, and the young guys have a good chance to produce, and so that's all been really good.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Ed Snyder. What made that man so great? Because Bernie Perrant lives down here too, as you know. He loves Ed Snyder. What was it about Ed Snyder that you guys loved, and what made him so successful?
Well, he really cared about the team, and he had, of course, had Bobby Clark at the start, which made a difference because after he played, he went to the GM, and then Ed was always passionate about the team and always put the character people that he wanted to be on the team. And so when they won a couple of years in a row, it just carried on from there. And that's why in the 80s, we were in the playoffs every year and we had a chance to win. And, it was just, it was a good time when I was there playing because we didn't lose too much. Even when my rookie year, we were 35 without a loss, which is something that's probably won't get broken. And just the way he ran the team, like he cared about the players and he did whatever he had to and made trades and just try to, put everything together. And, but he's so passionate too about it. Like he used to yell at all the people that were at the games and give them hell. And so, but yeah, he was passionate.
I would have liked to have met him because all of you guys just say the most wonderful things about him. And that was a great tribute right there. Well, lastly, I don't know if you saw, but my co-host Darren Dupont wanted to know about Guffaw cigars. What do people need to know? And maybe get a shipment for Christmas. Proper? What's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, so like if they want, they can go to guffawcigars.com. Everything's online, but if they get their information, like they can call me because I have them all with me all the time, and to Canada, it's a little tougher for cigars, but we will find a way around it if we have to. And and then also if they want to check out millions.ca, it's a company in Canada that has my T-shirts, he pucks and hats and for cigars and other charities that I run. Millions.ca has all that, and also. Just so you know, like my wife and I just started a new franchise called Prime IV Hydration and Wellness for IVs in Marlton, New Jersey. Like we were going to have it in Naples, New Jersey, in Florida, but we decided just to start with Marlton first. But it's good for the health of everybody. IVs are healthy, and then it's and I just did I did the NAD, which is like 4 days in a row of 4-hour drips. And so I already noticed after my stroke, my right fingers work much better because I couldn't straighten them up that early, this much. And my more leverage on my right shoulder. So like it made a big difference. And I think I'm talking a little faster and cleaner now.
You are. You're a walking, talking embodiment advertisement for it. Proper. I was going to say, whatever you're doing is working. So keep it going, and I appreciate you coming on and talking about that. Good luck with it, and happy holidays, Proper. It's always good seeing you.
Well, enjoy Florida.
Thank you, sir. We do immensely. We'll be right back with Overtime right after this and a sports update viewer takeover. We're live, not on Game Plus TV today, but we will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Live, and on the radio, your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE 99.1 FM.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Overtime. And as you know, it's brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They still have room for your Christmas party, office, team, family. Give them a call, Randy or Michelle, there at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It is, like I say, I get a different marketing slogan every day, right, Randy? It's like Top Golf for hockey. I'm not joking. Where skill and fun collide. 28th Street Northeast in Cowtown. Gotta love the time that we spent in Calgary. It's a slap shot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. I'll give you an idea where it is. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Cowtown. Check it out. Big hockey game there tonight in Calgary. Tonight, the Minnesota Wild in town. Flames looking to shake off that 4-3 home loss to the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday night. To me, that is the game of the night. By the way, do we want to anoint every single day, folks? I write down the rock star of the day. Very rarely do we talk about it. We used to have a sponsor for it. Maybe we should get one again. Rockstar Energy Drink. How about that? But rock star of the day yesterday was Jeff Reinbold. That will come as a surprise to nobody. And I want to say today it's going to be tough. Brian Propp or Neil McEvoy? Neil McEvoy, the general manager of the BC Lions, co-GM. He was with us last hour talking about all the great things that got going on with the Leos and that Empire Stadium. What did he call it? Empire 2? While BC Place was being renovated and getting ready for the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver. We, i.e. CFL teams, played in the temporary facility they threw up. It had a capacity of 30,000. It was literally like walking onto a job site, scaffolding everywhere, and it was freaking awesome. Loved it. Open air, overlooking the mountains. Oh, my God, it was great. Larry in Medicine Hat writes in, and he says that Tempire Stadium, we call it Tempire because it was temporary, he said, also looked great on TV. The place was packed. The scene was great. Wish the Lions would have stayed there. There was rumors forever that they were going to build a temporary stadium outside downtown. That's not happening, but they're going to throw something up in Victoria next year, and that'll be great. John Ohm says, great show. Thank you, John. Appreciate you. Last minute, a quickie. 2 Canadian NHL teams in action tonight, both at home. The Habs take on Seattle. Sorry, that was last night. Last night. I had a curling update here. Looks like we don't have time to get to it. My bad, everybody. I apologize for that. Canadian soccer legend Christine Sinclair bids farewell to her international career tonight in an emotional farewell against Australia in Vancouver. 45,000 fans expected at BC Place, which will be renamed Christine Sinclair Place tonight. She has scored a world record 190 goals for Team Canada in 23 years. Sports Update is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. And for Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now, Silent Night. Thanks to everybody. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Noon tomorrow, back on TV.
Who has more fun than us?